Muito boa noite, sejam todos bem-vindos. Hoje é mais uma transmissão aqui no canal WillPTV. Hoje, 9 de abril de 2025, pelo horário de Brasília, agora são 19 horas e 35 minutos. Meu nome é William Pessoa, eu sou o narrador e criador deste canal WillPTV. Hoje, trazendo para vocês, então, a primeira missão para valer aí da Kuiper 1, com o Atlas 5 da Untitled Chapter. Hoje, então, aí fazendo seu primeiro lançamento. Aí pela missão Kuiper, né? No total de 46, tá? O horário, então, previsto para o lançamento hoje, né? Aproximadamente aí 9 horas. Entre 8 da noite aí, né? Por volta das 8 da noite, né? O horário do lançamento previsto. Lembrando que Kuiper 1, então, aí é um nova constelação de satélites aí de conexão de internet da Amazon. Hoje com Atlas 5, então fazendo a sua missão V551. Estamos já iniciando então a transmissão com a Untitled Alliance. Vamos então aí fazer junto com eles. Então vamos acompanhar ao vivo, então, aí diretamente do complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo Canaveral, Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Se quiser fazer contribuição via Pix, pode fazer através aí do QR Code que está na sua tela. Faltando então aí 8 menos de 8 minutos aí para o lançamento. Então vamos acompanhar então aí agora, a partir deste momento, então aí, ao vivo, missão
So for today's flight, if the rocket and the payload are ready,
Projeto
weather permits, we'll have liftoff of Atlas at 7 p.m.
Amazon.
And Britt, that's great to hear that we have a 2-hour window. You and I have both been on console a lot. Sometimes we have missions with really short windows.
Como vocês podem estar vendo aí imagens ao vivo lá do complexo de lançamento número 41 na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Né, estamos aí com a previsão do tempo meio nublado, né? Aí como vocês podem acompanhar na tela. Estamos aí com abastecimento então seguindo bem aí com o estágio superior já com abastecimento concluído. Estamos aí com 7 minutos para o lançamento.
At this time, the team is working towards a 7 p.m. liftoff. However, the weather remains a challenge. So let's jump over to Brian Sizak for a weather update.
Por enquanto estamos aí bem. Vamos ver aí a previsão do tempo então para o lançamento de hoje.
Here on the Space Coast of Florida. So here's what we're dealing with right now. Here's a live look at satellite with radar data overlaid on top of it. Notice there are these showers that are off the coast. This is thanks to this area of low pressure that's spitting off the Atlantic coast.
Então, lançamento previsto aí para acontecer não 8 horas, e sim por volta aí das 19h40. Deixa eu fazer as contas aqui. Deixa eu só virar o cronômetro aí, o relógio. 19h39, então faltando 6 minutos. Então por volta aí das 19h45 da noite, né? Porque a janela de lançamento aí fica entre 7 e 8 da noite, no horário de Brasília. Mas podendo se estender da 8 até as 9 horas, tá?
That we're monitoring as well. In addition to the showers and the cumulus cloud rule, is the wind.
Por enquanto segue aí estável, né, sem problemas aparentes, para o lançamento. Agora pelo horário de Brasília são 19 horas e 39 minutos. Lembrando que o tempo então de duração de hoje, né, desta missão, logo após o lançamento, é de aproximadamente aí 18 minutos. Então vai provavelmente acompanhar o lançamento em si, né, e não a liberação aí dos satélites Kuiper. né, satélites Kuiper aí da Amazon, projeto aí da Amazon de internet, concorrente, querendo ser aí a concorrente da Starlink. Nós estamos aí com 80% de chance de termos lançamento, né, a direção do vento para o norte, né, temperatura aí boa aí também, aí 60 graus Fahrenheit. Daqui a pouco, então, aí vamos entrar possivelmente em algum tempo de hold, a marca de 4 minutos. Aí daqui a pouquinho aí. Este ano, então, aí é o primeiro lançamento da Untitled Alliance. Nós vimos o lançamento anterior, né, do ano passado com a Untitled Alliance, né, que levou então aí os astronautas Butch Williams, com a Boeing Starliner, lá na Estação Espacial Internacional, né, também com o Atlas 5. Vimos então aí este lançamento ano passado. Estamos aí então em tempo de hold neste momento. Faltando 4 minutos aí para o lançamento. Estamos aí no aguardo então do tempo de hold. Hold time. Então,
LD on one. Yes, LD. I'm working a couple of issues. I recommend extending the hold at T-4 minutes. We're going to delay dropping fuel and recommend delaying spacecraft batteries to internal. So our new T0 can be ported.
Concur and LD concurs.
Roger.
Estamos aí no momento com o tempo de hold, né? Estamos ao vivo. Então, no complexo de lançamento número 41, no Cabo Canaveral, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Não se esqueça de estar se inscrevendo no canal, de curtir e compartilhar.
Go for prop 1.
Estamos aguardando então aí o momento então da saída do tempo de volta. O WillPTV sempre mostrando tudo o que acontece ao redor do mundo e na Estação Espacial Internacional. Estamos aí então com 4 minutos, gravado aí no cronômetro, por conta do tempo de hold. Para quem está chegando agora, estamos aí acompanhando a missão da Untitled Alliance, Atlas 5, Kuiper 1. Para quem não conhece o projeto Kuiper, este é o projeto então aí da Amazon, para levar também internet em baixa órbita. Não tenho ao todo o número de carga de hoje. Eu sei que serão aí em torno de 46 lançamentos a serem realizados para completar a sua constelação. Estamos aguardando então aí o novo P0, o novo horário para o lançamento. Estamos aí então com o Atlas 5 da Untitled Alliance. Agora pelo horário de Brasília são 19 horas e 44 minutos.
As the countdown continues, our team is taking the final steps in preparation for liftoff. The first stage, also known as the rocket's booster stage, is a large tank on the bottom that is actually 2 tanks, one filled with the RP-1 fuel and the other with the liquid oxygen. And the liquid oxygen is the super cold cryogenic propellant that turns the tank's exterior from bronze to that frosty white.
Estamos ainda aguardando o novo tempo de lançamento, né? Novo horário para o lançamento. Estamos ainda em tempo de espera.
That was perfect. That was a 30-second overview of rocket science right there. Atlas is also equipped with the Centaur upper stage, which drives the payload during the second phase of flight to its final orbital destination in space. The payload fairing, or PLF as we refer to it, completes the rocket and provides this aerodynamic shape necessary for the climb to space. On the upper stage in the PLF, we'll see the logos for Amazon, Atlas, and ULA, as well as the American flag. Let's learn more about how ULA builds the Atlas V rocket.
Engineer.
Estamos ainda por enquanto em tempo de espera para quem está chegando agora. Pelo horário de Brasília, são 19 horas e 46 minutos. Hoje, 9 de abril de 2025. Estamos acompanhando então a missão Kuiper 1, primeiro de 46 lançamentos a serem realizados aí pelo projeto da Amazon, aí de conexão internet. Agora estamos vendo aí o momento da integração aí do veículo, do Atlas 5, né? O primeiro estágio aí com 5 boosters auxiliares, o estágio superior e o compartimento de carga. Hoje, então, o lançamento é lá no complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo, Canaveral. Agora a gente vai ver um pouquinho sobre o projeto Kuiper. Estamos de volta então com imagens ao vivo lá no complexo de lançamento 41, Cabo Canaveral, Flórida. Agora, pelo horário de Brasília, são 19 horas e 51 minutos. Ainda estamos no tempo de hold, aguardando novo horário para o lançamento.
This is Atlas Mission Control. We are currently in a hold due to weather, and we are awaiting a new T0.
Está sendo avaliado então o novo horário para o lançamento. Estamos aguardando.
LCRC, net 1.
Go RC.
We've coordinated the new T023:40 with the range, and it's been approved.
Roger.
Estamos aguardando então o novo T0. Estamos em tempo de hold. Agora, horário de Brasília são 19 horas e 55 minutos.
LCAC, net 1.
Go AC.
Ready to provide an upbrief on the CLH2 tank pressure soft flow that was reported.
Roger. LD net 1.
LD.
Proceed AC.
Yeah, LC. So the team noticed an increase in tank pressure in the CLH2 tank. That was simultaneous with the SRV cycle test going on. The pressure got a little higher than we intended it to, but the flume on test took the appropriate action to bring the tank back down. We have no concerns for vehicle health or proceeding with today's operation. We'll document on the DR to address corrective action in the future and recommend proceeding.
LC concurs. LD.
LD concurs.
LC PNE2. Go PNE2. LH2 conditioning complete. Roger.
And we just received a new T0 of 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Our hold is extended due to weather, so let's get an update from Brian Sizik.
Thanks, guys. Yes, and currently we are no-go for the cumulus cloud rule, and we're also monitoring the winds at the ground level as well. So here's why we're no-go for the cumulus cloud rule. Notice these showers that are off the coast here. Now, they're not directly over the launch pad, which is out right here, but because they're fairly tall, they could hold a charge. And actually, if they get to a certain level, the minus 20 Celsius level, it's a 10 nautical mile standoff from the launch pad and the flight path. So that's likely what we're dealing with here. These are pretty tall showers. So the launch weather team is monitoring this. We're watching the motion here. So notice that they are pushing to the south and maybe a little bit to the east. So if we could get these to push a little bit farther to the east and get outside of that 10 nautical mile range, we could potentially clear that cumulus cloud rule. Now we're also watching some more showers that are developing farther to the north. Now again, they look like they're trying to push a little bit farther to the east, but again, the team will be monitoring these other showers that are starting to come in from the north. And then if we switch to winds, this is the other weather factor that we're monitoring here tonight. So notice the red numbers here. So that is the gusts right along these our weather towers here at the Cape and KSC. We're monitoring the wind. So notice that the gusts are in the low to mid 30s. We're seeing some peaks miles per hour. So again, we're going to need some of those gusts to come down in addition to the showers pushing a little bit farther away from the launch pad. So those are the two factors. It does look like it is improving marginally as we go towards the end of the window. So again, the POV currently 80% at the opening of the window, but as we push later, it does look like it improves a little bit. So that's what the team's going to be watching. Again, as I mentioned, if we can find a gap in the weather and if we can find some good conditions, the launch weather team will give that go call. So guys, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. As you heard, we're going to take a pause in our live broadcast so we can work closer towards our T0. Hopefully, the weather will clear up in this time being, and we'll see you shortly.
Então aí novo T0, né, foi confirmado aí para as 20 horas e 40 minutos. Daqui a 40 minutos. Tá? Estamos então aguardando. Então aí vamos ver se eles vão manter a transmissão ou se eles vão encerrar e depois recomeçar novamente. Né, por hora, então vamos seguir aqui acompanhando então ao vivo para vocês, missão aí com Atlas 5 lá no complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo Canaveral, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. O projeto então Kuiper 1, Kuiper, né? Primeiro lançamento do Kuiper 1, Kuiper da Amazon, né? Projeto de conexão de internet. Será aí futuramente a concorrente da Starlink. Então sigamos aí a nossa transmissão. Então já volto aí com ela, tá? Vamos ir aí acompanhando as novidades que virão por aí. Então, horário novo do lançamento, então aí às 20 horas e 40 minutos, tá? Então, dentro de instantes, então teremos o lançamento. Então, fiquem ligados para mais novidades. WillPTV, mostrando tudo o que acontece ao redor do mundo e na Estação Espacial Internacional. Lembrando que tem mora no Rio de Janeiro. Estamos aí, então, aí, possivelmente chuva, né? Previsão de chuva também. Parece que já está acontecendo neste momento. Na grande Rio de Janeiro, né? Mas eu estou ouvindo os trovões aqui.
LC, this is RLM11. Go RLM. The 4 Delta P values for LH2 are now back within band. Roger. You have a go to clear them. Active. LC, this is RLM11. Go RLM. Alarms have been acknowledged. Roger.
LC Field 2.
Go ahead, Phil 2.
First step 660. Centaur LH2 is at 99.8% at 2310 Zulu.
Roger.
LC Fuel 2.
Go Fuel 2.
First step 700. Centaur LH2 has been above 99.8% for 5 minutes.
Roger. PNA 2, LC.
Go ahead, P. Go ahead, LC.
Perform Centaur LH2 SUV cycle test.
Roger. LCP2.
Go PNA2.
Centaur Cryo SEV cycle test is complete.
Roger. OSLC.
This is Zoe.
Perform data transfer to backup CCLS.
Roger.
Oh, minus 20 minutes.
LC locks 1.
Go Locks.
Atlas LO2 remains at flight level.
Roger.
LC locks 2.
Go.
Centaur LO2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC Fuel 2.
Go Field 2.
Centaur LH2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC, this is LD on 1.
Go LD.
Please coordinate a new T0 of 00:03.
Roger. 0003.
Good copy. Thank you.
ALC. LC.
Go ahead.
Please set the clock for a new T0 00:03.
Roger.
RC LC.
RCN1.
Please coordinate with the range a new T0 of 00:03.
Roger, welcome.
LD LC at 1.
LD.
Yeah, LD, our launch vehicle issues are resolved. We are just currently red on winds at this time.
Thank you, LC.
LC, ALC.
Go.
Countdown clock has been set for a new T0 of 03000.
Roger. All right, for the team, for our new T0, L count is L minus 41 minutes. And SCI LC, channel 1.
This is SC on 1, filling in for SCI.
Okay, yeah, just want to make sure where the T0 change.
Yep, they copied that.
Roger.
Está aí acompanhando, então, a missão Projeto Kuiper da Amazon, aí no complexo de lançamento número 41, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. 8 horas e 23 minutos. Lembrando que o horário do lançamento foi alterado para as 20 horas e 40 minutos. Agora, como vocês podem ver, já no tempo, as condições climáticas agora já estão mais favoráveis para o lançamento. Mudou, novo T0, agora para as 21 horas, em 21 horas e 30 minutos, novo T0, mudou novamente, então agora para as 21 horas e 3 minutos. Estou avisando que alterou, então, o novo T0 para as 21 e 3. Estamos então continuando na transmissão aqui da missão Kuiper 1. Aí, agora pelo horário de Brasília são 20 horas e 24 minutos. Chegou agora, boa noite, sejam todos bem-vindos aí à transmissão do canal, aqui no canal WillPTV. Agora, pelo horário de Brasília, são 20 horas e 41 minutos. Estamos com a transmissão aí ao vivo, diretamente do complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo, Canaveral, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Pelo lançamento então, do Atlas 5V, pela missão V551, do projeto Kuiper 1 da Amazon. Neste momento, então, o lançamento foi adiado, né? Como vocês podem ver na tela, para as 21 horas e 3 minutos, devido então, a condições climáticas. Nesse momento, então, ainda continua tempo meio ruim lá na Flórida, no lado. Já tivemos algumas alterações devido a isso, tá? Mas vamos continuar, então, juntos aqui até o veículo subir ou até encerrar a transmissão. O tempo que nós vamos acompanhar neste veículo, né, na transmissão do Atlas 5 e depois do lançamento, será em torno de 19, 18 minutos depois do lançamento. Lembrando que essa missão de hoje é a primeira de 46 lançamentos do projeto Kuiper da Amazon, né, para levar internet, conexão de internet, que será aí concorrente do Starlink. Então vamos seguir então aí acompanhando as atualizações, né? Pode ser dadas em breve.
LC, this is LD on 1.
Go, LD.
Please coordinate a new T0 of 00:22.
Roger, 0022 Zulu.
Good copy.
Novo T0 então será alterado novamente.
Please set the clock for a new T0 0022 Zulu.
Roger.
RCLC.
Então aí foi
1.
para
Please coordinate with
meia-noite
range
e 2.
0022 Zulu.
Roger, welcome.
2 aí. 0022. Então vamos ver como foi o horário agora. Então ficou para 8h22. Não, 9h22, né? Pelo horário de Brasília, tá? 9h22 pelo horário de Brasília, 8h22.
LC. Contact clock has been set for new T0 of 00:22 Zulu.
Roger. All right, for the team, we're at L minus
Aí
37
lá na
minutes.
Flórida. Estou confirmando então aí, 8h22 da noite na Flórida, 21h22 da noite aqui no horário de Brasília, novo horário para o lançamento do Atlas 5. Já estamos aí com mais de 1 hora de transmissão. Sejam todos bem-vindos aí então à transmissão aqui no canal WillPTV. Por problemas então do clima, foi alterado então novamente para o horário do lançamento agora para as 21h22 no horário de Brasília. Lembrando que quem puder ir ajudar no canal, fazer contribuição aí Pix, através do QR Code na tela. Lembrando que o Pix só funciona no Brasil, né, para quem é brasileiro, agora no Brasil, brasileiro no exterior. Quem usa o Pix no exterior, tá? No caso brasileiro, tá? Ou você também pode ajudar dando a sua inscrição, quem ainda não é inscrito, e também deixando o seu like na transmissão e poder compartilhar também nas suas redes sociais. Estamos aí ao vivo, diretamente no complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo, Canaveral, na Flórida. Lembrando que o novo horário então, do lançamento foi alterado agora para as 21h22 pelo horário de Brasília. 20h22 pelo horário Flórida. Instant Time.
Welcome back. We're joining you from ULA's Advanced Spaceflight Operations Center here at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We're continuing to work to our new T0 of 8:22 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things that go into planning a new T0. Vehicle readiness, waiting for weather like we are right now. Launch vehicle looks good. One of the other things that we always look at is collision avoidance, or as we abbreviate it, COLAs. And in this case, you might wonder, how do we end up with an 8:22 p.m. or before that it was an 8:03 p.m. And that's really because we're always planning to make sure that when we launch, there's nothing else in the area as we get up on orbit that we're not having any sort of chance of coming even close to anything else on orbit. So we always time our launches to make sure that we're launching at a time where we don't have any issues with a collision in space. And so that's really why we ended up with an 8:22 p.m. T0 for tonight.
That's great. It's like we're organizing a great space dance between intergalactic traffic and making sure that everybody's in the right place at the right time. So we're lucky that we have our launch coordinators on top of that, and we're working towards the new T0 of 8:22 Eastern Time. So as we remain in this hold due to weather, as we mentioned, let's check back in with Launch Weather Officer Brian Sizek.
Thanks, guys. And unfortunately, we haven't seen the weather trend as favorably as we were hoping. So let's take a live look at radar right now. You can see there's this stubborn convergent band of showers that's remaining just inside our 10 nautical mile ring from the launch pad, which is about right here. And so some of these clouds are getting above the minus 20 Celsius altitude, which is over 20,000 feet. And because of that, they have to be outside of the 10 nautical mile ring from the launch pad. So you can see we were hoping they'd push a little bit further to the east, but they've almost trended a little bit further to the west, closer to the pad. So that's why we haven't been able to clear this cumulus cloud rule. Again, those clouds could have electrification that could potentially trigger a lightning strike. So that's why this rule exists, to prevent a rocket-triggered lightning strike. And we're also monitoring the winds as well. So it's the cumulus cloud rule and elevated winds. So you can see we are maybe seeing a little bit of a drop down in some of these wind speeds. We are still seeing a few gusts in the low 30s, but a lot now getting into the 20s. So maybe trending down a little bit in the winds, but we're going to need that trend to continue. So we're still watching those showers just off the coast, and we need these winds to come down as well. So guys, we'll be watching, and again, if we can get the weather to clear, the launch weather team will find that opportunity and call the go call. Back to you.
Thanks, Brian. Here we've got a live shot of Jetty Beach. So we have a lot of beachgoers out there sitting on the sands and taking their time to hopefully view a launch later this evening.
Yeah, and even though we would have loved to launch at the opening of the window, as the sun goes down, it does make for some really spectacular launches, especially with those 5 SRBs. If we launch tonight, these folks are going to think the sun is coming up. It's going to be so bright.
Definitely. Well, now we're taking a live look at the mighty Atlas V on the pad. It's really crazy to think about that all 27 Kuiper satellites are tucked in nicely into that PLF.
It is, and it's not just any PLF. It's the largest one we fly today. It's 77 feet tall. Like you said, all 27 Kuipers in there. And then again, with the 5 SRBs, this really is the largest Atlas configuration that we currently have in our fleet today. And so it's going to be really rocking when we launch. It's going to shake the whole building as it flies, as it lifts off.
Definitely. We're all maxed out on SRBs. You can have a configuration change of either 1 to 5. And each of these SRBs are adding 375,000 pounds of thrust. So when you combine that with the main engine, you get almost 2.7 million pounds at liftoff.
And we just saw the SRBs there. Now we're looking at an engine shot. You can see the 2 engine bells of the RD-180, as well as those 5 SRB nozzles just hanging out right under our mobile launch platform. And a lot of smoke and fire going down into that flame trench as soon as all that ignites at T0.
Oh, definitely. You'll hear us say we have ignition, and then the whole frame will light up. You'll see all that fire and smoke come out, and then hopefully we'll see a grand Atlas liftoff into the horizon.
And now the boil off. Again, we talked about the liquid oxygen, the cryogenic fuel, both on the booster as well as the upper stage being both liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. And so those are cryogenic. They're, -200 to -450 degrees Fahrenheit. So at those temperatures, it boils here in Florida at room temperature. It's 70 so outside, and so you're seeing that boil off. So we are constantly replenishing those propellants. They're constantly boiling off, and to keep the tanks full, we're just adding more and more throughout the hold here to make sure that when we lift off, we are fully fueled and ready to go.
Oh yeah.
ALC. Oh. Countdown clock has
We've just heard from our mission control that we now have a new T0.
Roger. And the team, we're at L minus 39 minutes and counting.
The new T0 is 8:39 Eastern Time.
And just a reminder, we do have a 2-hour window tonight, so we do have window remaining, even with the T0 being rescheduled due to the weather delay. Looking at a live look at the Launch Control Center here in Cape Canaveral. Engineers all continuing to intently watch their data throughout the hold and monitor the vehicle as we proceed through the weather delay.
There's nothing like being on console, Caleb. You really get this excitement of sitting there, all of the tension and all of the hard work that's really cultivated to this moment here. You know, everyone's focused. We're making sure all of our systems are in line when we do get that new T0 due to weather. And it's never quite like, you know, the excitement of launch day. It's unmatched, I tell you.
Absolutely. It's just like you said, everybody's worked so hard to get to this point. You know, sometimes you got to just wait for things out of your control, like the weather, which is what we're doing tonight. But everybody still very focused and ready to go if that weather window opens up tonight.
And even if we do have a 2-hour window, you know, at the beginning of the window, we would have gotten that launch right around the sunset time, but night launches are also equally spectacular. You really do get to light up the sky. You feel the whole building shaking. You really hear that power of those SRBs with those main engines, the RD-180s, and you get a good liftoff out of Earth's atmosphere. So night launches are equally as cool. You've got the bright, shiny, you know, star coming through, and nothing like an Atlas V launch.
Yeah. And we're now looking at the Mission Directors Center. So we have our Amazon customer as well as our Space Force customer in there monitoring the launch. And this is the management team who is making all the decisions on what our new T0s are, making sure that we're proceeding through the count and doing all of the final polls and giving that final go up till launch, as well as our Engineering Support Center here in the ASOC.
LC, RC, channel 1.
Go RC.
The range has approved our new T0 at 00:39 kilo.
Roger.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. ULA's new Vulcan rocket was recently certified by the U.S. Space Force to launch critical missions for the U.S. government. Let's take a look back at the Vulcan certification flights.
Estamos então aí acompanhando a transmissão da missão da Untitled Alliance lá no complexo de lançamento número 41 na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Devido às condições do clima, né, tivemos aí algumas alterações no horário do lançamento e agora foi para as 21 horas e 39 minutos no horário de Brasília. Hoje então aí transmitindo para vocês a missão V551, projeto Kuiper 1, Atlas 5, aí da Untitled Alliance, pela missão aí da Kuiper 1 Amazon, a nova constelação então aí de satélites para a internet, né, que será aí, promete ser então aí a nova concorrente do Starlink. Além desse primeiro lançamento, teremos outros mais 46 lançamentos já programados então aí para o projeto Kuiper da Amazon. Nesse momento eu não sei ainda quantos satélites tem já a bordo do Atlas 5, né? Não fomos informados aí quantos satélites há a bordo no Atlas 5. O tempo de duração desta missão, aí depois do lançamento, provavelmente então será em torno de 18 minutos, né? Não iremos acompanhar a liberação dos satélites, né? A princípio não iremos acompanhar a liberação dos satélites em órbita. Vamos seguir então juntos aí acompanhando esta missão aí, primeiro lançamento deste ano de 2025 da Untitled Alliance. Para quem desejar também aí ajudar a contribuição com o canal, basta deixar o seu like e se inscrever, ou ainda, se preferir, fazer uma contribuição via Pix através do QR Code na tela, está aí no canal. Ou também seguir o canal nas redes sociais. Voltamos com imagens ao vivo lá no complexo de lançamento número 41.
This is Atlas Mission Control. We have plenty of exciting launches coming up here in 2025, but 2024 had a memorable year for ULA. Along with 2 Vulcan launches, we launched humans for the first time with the first crewed flight test. We celebrated our 100th national security launch with the USSF 51 mission and said goodbye to the Delta vehicle with our final Delta IV heavy liftoff carrying NROL 70. Let's take a look back at these very exciting missions. This is Atlas Mission Control with T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Atlas rockets have launched many of the world's vital space assets. Let's take a look at the impressive legacy of the Atlas family of rockets.
Zulu.
Roger. 0059 Zulu. ALC, LC.
Go ahead.
Please set the clock for a new T0 of 0059 Zulu.
Roger.
Tivemos então nova alteração para o
RC,
horário do
LC.
lançamento, hein? Novo horário,
Go
então
for
às
RC.
9
Please
e
coordinate with the range new
59.
T0 of 0059 Zulu.
Roger, and work.
9h59 da noite no horário de Brasília, então novo horário para o lançamento, hein, da Untitled Alliance. Agora são 21 horas e 21 minutos. Você está assistindo então ao canal WillPTV.
Countdown clock has been set for new T0 of 0059 Zulu.
Roger. All right, the team clock is counting L minus 37 minutes.
LC has guess.
Go.
Yeah, we've run into a slight issue where we've lost connection with the VNC on the laptop. It appears that the server is still running on the desktop in the lower PEB. There's been no interruption of ASGAS scanning. We're going to go through some steps such as closing out, restarting the VNC, or switching networks to see if we can get that connection back.
All right, yeah, and so are we getting data?
We are still getting data, yes.
Roger that. Okay, report to me when you're complete with your investigation.
Copy.
LC, RC.
RC.
Range has approved our new T0 of 00:59.
Roger.
Eu tô achando que vai dar chabu. E agora, nada de lançamento, né? O último horário, então, aí foi para as 21h59 da noite, pelo horário de Brasília. Agora são 21h24. Tá vendo? Logo mais, então, aí, Libertadores da América, jogo do Flamengo aí, né? Ontem já tivemos
And as you heard a moment ago, we do have a new T0 of 8:59 Eastern. We've pushed to the end of the window to see if we can get that weather to open up for us. So let's go get another check from Launch Weather Officer Brian Sizik.
Thanks, guys. And we still have not seen a great trend, but the best chance we have to get this weather to clear is at the end of the window. So that's why the launch team, they've been in communication with the launch weather team that is on console right now, and they are obviously monitoring the situation very closely. But again, here is what we've been dealing with all night, really. We have this convergent band of showers, that north to south oriented band that's moving, kind of the whole line is pushing a little bit to the south. Now we were hoping it would push farther off to the east, but notice it's progressed a little bit closer to the pad. But there's actually another way that we can clear this cumulus cloud roll, and that's if the tops of these showers get lower and the showers begin to dissipate. So the two ways, they could either push farther away from the pad, or they could weaken, where if the tops get low enough, that standoff distance actually gets smaller and smaller. So in other words, they can be farther away from the pad, or excuse me, they can get closer to the pad, and if the showers are weaker, then we don't have to be concerned about them. So those are the two ways that we could clear the cumulus cloud roll. We're also monitoring the winds as well, and as we take a live look at some of the winds we're seeing, notice we're still seeing winds in the upper 20s to low 30s miles per hour. These are gusts at the surface. The launch pad is right around here, so we're also monitoring winds up a few hundred feet as well. So again, the two things we need to clear that the launch weather team is going to be monitoring up until the wire here at our last T0 in the window, the cumulus cloud rule and the winds. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Brian.
This is Atlas Mission Control with T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Following liftoff, viewers watching the launch from Florida and points north and east might be able to see the Atlas V in flight. Let's get a closer look at the visibility map. Check it out at ULA Launch on social media.
This is Atlas Mission Control. We continue to be at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. ULA also launches Vulcan rockets here in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Let's take a look around.
Estamos aí com imagens ao vivo do complexo de lançamento número 41, Cabo, Canaveral, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Agora, pelo horário de Brasília, são 21 horas e 31 minutos. O horário do lançamento está agora previsto para acontecer às 21h59, pelo horário de Brasília.
This is Atlas Mission Control, still holding at T-minus in 4 minutes. Due to maintenance issues on the Tennessee River, recently ULA's rocket ship needed a creative solution to transport our rockets from our manufacturing facility in Decatur, Alabama, all the way to Cape Canaveral. ULA engineers and technicians devised a plan to load the flight hardware onto the barge and then transfer it back to rocket ship, downstream of the maintenance site. Let's take a look at this innovative process.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We continue to be in a weather delay. ULA continues to make numerous changes to our factory and launch pads to prepare for an increased launch cadence. The team recently finished assembling a new Vulcan launch platform, or VLP-A, inside a new vertical integration facility, or VIF-A. The A in the acronyms designates Amazon, as these facilities will be used to support Amazon launches. VLP-A will travel along a newly renovated rail system between VIF-A and Space Launch Complex 41 to enable seamless transport of overlapping launch campaigns.
We just received a weather briefing from Brian. Let's toss it over to him so we can hear some more details.
Thanks, guys. Yes, we did just get a weather briefing from the lead launch weather officer on this mission, my colleague Brian Belson. So what he briefed the launch team is we are watching this line of showers. We're getting new radar scans about every 5 minutes or so, and we're watching to see, are these cloud tops coming down at all? Also, are they remaining connected? Because if they're connected, you kind of have to treat the whole line as one and then just use the closest point to the pad. But if we can find some breaks in that line, and the taller cloud tops aren't connected to the ones that are closest to the launch pad right here, then we could potentially get out of that violation as well. So we are still no-go for the cumulus cloud rule, but we're watching these new radar scans coming in to see if we could potentially clear it. So he gave an 80% probability of violation, so that's a 20% chance of go by the end of the window and our last T0. But again, there still is a little bit of hope, and that's what we're watching. We need these cloud tops to come down, or we need to see a little break in the connection here where we could potentially get out of the violation that way. So that's what the launch weather team is tracking. This is a minute-by-minute thing that we're monitoring. We're waiting for the new radar scans to come in, and that's what the team is watching, in addition to the winds as well. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. We've been talking to you for a lot of the time tonight, so we always appreciate the weather updates and keeping all of our team here at the LCC and watching all informed. So we're still sitting here at T-minus 4 minutes and counting. To celebrate our new Vulcan rocket, we recently updated the lobby at ULA headquarters in Centennial, Colorado. Let's take a look.
É o novo horário do lançamento, então falta aí 19 minutos. Estamos ao vivo novamente no complexo de lançamento 41, Cabo Canaveral, na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos. Estamos aguardando então para ver se vai manter este horário ou se teremos alterações.
LC, this is LD on 1.
Go, LD.
I am directing a launch scrub for today's operations. Please proceed with preparations for an extended turnaround with the next launch attempt under review.
Roger, LD. All right, team, direct operation 60. Or excuse me.
Aparentemente, então, deu scrub aí, deu chabu. Devido, então, às condições climáticas aí, então, do Cabo Canaveral na Flórida. Então, aparentemente, aí deu scrub. Confirmado, então, Scrub, hein? Scrub na tela. Lançamento, então, da missão de hoje, então, da Untitled Alliance. Nova data, então, será divulgada nas próximas horas ou no próximo dia. Então, devido às condições climáticas aí na Flórida, nos Estados Unidos, por conta do mau tempo, então aí deu, após vários adiamentos, deu Scrub. Obrigado, então, por acompanhar a nossa transmissão até agora aqui conosco, aqui no canal WillPTV, sempre trazendo tudo o que acontece ao redor do mundo e também na Estação Espacial Internacional. Então é isso, 21 horas e 43 minutos pelo horário de Brasília, dia 9 de abril de 2025. Infelizmente não deu Scrub para a missão de hoje, então, da Untitled Alliance. Com o Atlas 5, aí vem o projeto Kuiper, da Amazon. Vamos aguardar então aí o encerramento da transmissão da Untitled Alliance. Desejo a todos então uma ótima noite.
This is Atlas Mission Control. It is confirmed that we will not continue with the Amazon Project Kuiper 1 launch activities today. We will work with our partners at the U.S. Space Force Space Launch Delta 45 for the timing of our next launch opportunity. For up-to-date information, please visit us at ulalaunch.com. I'm Caleb Weiss, and for Brit